Hi everyone, thanks for dialing in. And today we're launching another video onto our series of blockchain node deployment using Zeeve platform. Today we're going to capture TRON blockchain protocol in all its glory, and hopefully it is able to serve your purposes, your projects for whatever requirement you have in Web3 space. So I'm going to log in here with my account, and right off the bat you can see my dashboard here. Another bunch of analytics of workspaces, networks. Again, I would recommend that you follow our previous videos. You cover our previous videos about the general configuration of your Zeeve accounts. We're going to dial in right onto our TRON blockchain protocol for the purpose of our deployment. So you can see I've on my dedicated node section here, and I can see a bunch of networks which I've previously deployed. I'm going to go ahead and create a new network here for TRON, and I can see that these are all my subscriptions under which I can deploy my network. I can see that I've got a Bring Your Own Cloud DigitalOcean network with full node and RPC access available for it. I'm going to go ahead and buy for AWS Bring Your Own Cloud for TRON again. So let me do that. As you can see, these are all the blockchain protocols that I can choose from, and I'm going to select here TRON. I can select Bring Your Own Cloud or Zeeve Manage. So Bring Your Own Cloud will allow me to use my own cloud account without having to move away from my preference. Or I could rather use Zeeve Manage as well, where I don't have to worry about the cloud accounts whatsoever, and Zeeve would take care of the hosting all by itself. So Bring Your Own Cloud, I can see all my authorized cloud accounts here present in categorized way for AWS, DigitalOcean, and GCP. I'm going to select the AWS, and then I'm going to select the node type of full node. I can see my monthly bill. I can see my total number of nodes which I can purchase for. I'm going to keep it to 1, and I'm going to click here subscribe. So here I would be able to purchase my node, going to subscriptions, and I'll just see you in a minute after purchasing this. So now I've purchased my TRON subscription. I can go ahead and set up my network now. So I can see my existing networks, and then again I go here, click add network. And these subscriptions will basically allow me to easily manage multiple networks for different projects, different customers, if I have to do it that way in a very neat way, in a separated way. So I do not mix up my payments for my different customers or such. Let's say if I have a blockchain consulting company, I can easily manage multiple subscriptions of different customers in a separate fashion. So the subscription that I just bought was this one for Bring Your Own Cloud AWS, and I'm gonna click on this one. And right away, you can see Zeeve asked me for network configurations, where I can again name my TRON network. So I'll just name it anything. I can select the network type, so whether it's a main network or Nile testnet. So I'm gonna stick to main network for this demonstration. I'm gonna select my deployment type, which is native TRON deployment, which would basically just deploy my services onto a VM, which will be hosting my client of TRON. And then again, I can select my workspace. So workspace are again a clean way to manage your networks and nodes. So I'm going to select here public nodes. And then I can choose my configurations of the node, the very node that I'm willing to deploy. So I'm just going to write here RPC user 1, and I'm going to give it a password. So that works based on the password policy that has been set up. I can name my node as well. So TRON node 1, anything would do. And I can enable my RPC server for HTTP and RPC both, based on whatever I want to consume. These configurations again vary protocol to protocol, so I would recommend that let's say if you're choosing to deploy for anything else, you might want to check out Zeeve's, read the doc section to get to know things better. Then after that, I can select the region. So I'm on the step of cloud configurations where I can actually select the region of my deployment. Because I've selected AWS, I can see that all the options that are coming up are specific to AWS. So I'm going to select here AP Northeast 2 because why not? And next, I'll go ahead and set my cloud account on which I want my node to be actually deployed on. So I'm going to stick to Zeeve Dev, which is the only account I've configured at the moment. And I can set my instance type. So whatever my usage is, I can, based on that, select my instance type. But even if you want to start small and scale it later, Zeeve would also allow you to do the same. So I'm going to select here T3A medium, and I'm going to click create. Zeeve would verify that everything for my cloud is configured right, if I have the right VPC limits, if I have the instance quota available in my account, all those good things, and then it would start setting up my node. Usually this deployment takes about 10 to 15 minutes to set up the baseline infrastructure and then provision the software over it. But we're going to show you an existing network that is already deployed, and that would be TRON network here. So you can see that this network has 2 nodes present within it, and both the nodes are set up on DigitalOcean, which is one of my cloud's accounts, and I can see which region it is deployed on. The region name is again specific to DigitalOcean. I can do different actions with my nodes like stopping, restarting, looking at the monitoring, deleting the node, and checking the status of my nodes as well. A little bit of graphical representation of my node to make sure that they're both connected to each other. And then I can choose to add a node onto this existing network, or I can delete this network as a whole as well. If I select a particular node, so Zeeve will show me an existing block height. I can see the endpoints to which I can use for my connections to the node, and I can see an example code snippet of how I can write my code to connect to the blockchain nodes. If I click on analytics, I can see that TRON has 2 options of node and the TRON specific analytics. I'm going to select node here first. And if you see that Zeeve will pop up all these graphs which allow me to monitor my system level resources for my node as well. CPU, RAM, swap used, rootfs used, historical graph for CPU again, memory stack, network IO, disk space, CPUs, RAM, uptime, as well as rootfs. Zeeve captures all of these details, and on top of this, it's also able to provide you notifications and alerts over your email or in-app notifications to always keep you informed if anything is reaching a certain threshold, exceeding it, or is having any issues or troubles with. So you're always on top of your deployments without having to worry about any downtime as such. You can also see that there are some TRON-specific analytics and monitoring as well. So these are blockchain-specific analytics, which vary from blockchain protocol to protocol. And if I open this, you can see again a bunch of details which are very specific to TRON. I can see the block height at the moment. I can see the header time for my node. I can see the load average, which has been going on onto my node again. So it has synced up, which is really good. I can see the open FDs, the maximum and the current amount, so I don't run out of any file descriptors on my machine. I can see the pending pool of transactions if there are on my node, any transaction or blocks which I've done, I've put onto processing as well, and TPS. So if I've done any transactions using my node, it will also show me the throughput of my node. This node hasn't received any transactions, so there's no such data, but it will allow me to capture my throughput really well. And let's say if it is coming out to be too much, I might want to consider scaling up my node as well. Transaction process latency, block push latency. So a lot of good analytics which give me a lot of insight of how I can optimize this node better for my own purpose. I can also visualize the number of peers which are connected to my peer, however many are active, overall number of nodes which are connected to my peer, how many nodes are passive and valid and such. So all of that is done. And let's say if again, your number of peer connections goes beyond a certain threshold, then Zeeve would again inform you that your node might be risking some connection delays, some block syncing delays, because the number of connections are not enough. So it would give you all of those details. You can see the latency for your nodes and UDP traffic, TCP traffic in and outs as well. So all of these parameters allow me to have that capability of keeping on top of my deployment, but at the same time, I can really get informed by Zeeve, Zeeve's notification and alert system that would give me it on the run. So yeah, this is our TRON network, and this would cut down a lot of my difficulties of managing a blockchain project as such, which comes usually a lot with a lot of security challenges, infrastructure challenges. The complexity of blockchain is quite a bit, and Zeeve would allow me to cut down all the time that I would consume into setting up a node on the network, making sure that it's production grade, and then having to worry about the security challenges that come about to the node infrastructure as well. So having a standard way utilized for your own project that is utilized by everybody out there is the way to go. So those are some bit of TRON, but let's say if dedicated nodes are not for you, then you can also just go ahead and start using Zeeve's API endpoints, which is basically just running on shared nodes, and you don't have to worry about deploying your dedicated nodes at all. But that is for some other day when we'll discuss about API endpoints. But for today, I think that's it. Thank you for dialing in. I would highly recommend that you subscribe to our channels on YouTube, LinkedIn, follow us on Twitter. We have presence everywhere, and stay tuned for your favorite blockchain protocols if we haven't covered it already. So go ahead and see that. Maybe look out a couple of videos that we've released already in this series, and we hope to see you again for the next tutorial. Thank you for joining in. See you guys later. Bye-bye.